Hello and welcome to the Plate Spinning Academy podcast, hosted by me, Nick Davis, a productivity mentor and multi-passionate entrepreneur. I know what it feels like when you want to do all of the projects all at the same time, with never enough time and energy to do it all. I'm a passionate creative who's found my almost perfect blend of business and life that keeps my head motivated, my body energised and my heart happy. I'll be talking about all things to do with organisation, rotas, goal setting, systems and structures, and strategies for business and life together, all combined with a healthy dose of accountability and motivation to help you on your journey. It's time for you to find your tailored recipe for accomplishment and contentment. Hello and welcome to today's episode. What I'm going to talk about today is whether self-employment is a choice. I remember a few years ago, one of my good friends told me that I should be looking to get a proper job like everybody else. And I'm sure there's plenty of you already heard that before. Is self-employment actually a choice, or are we pushed into it? I mean, why wouldn't you want to go and work for somebody else? You know how much you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid regularly. You're going to get sick pay, hopefully. You're going to get paid holidays. Why wouldn't you want that? I always knew that I would be working for myself at some point. I've had various employment jobs throughout my life. And I have been dissatisfied with every single one of them, even the really good ones. Even the really good ones that paid well and I was enjoying my work. I just knew there was something there that was saying to me inside, this isn't my place. I need to do my own thing. I need to work for myself. So apart from that calling inside, there's also, when you become a parent, what happens when the kids are off sick? What happens when you can't find a job that's flexible enough to work around the school runs? It's really, really hard, even now in 2024, to find work for other people that's flexible enough for your needs. Part of my business community is made up of people who have fallen out of employment for various reasons. They've been in a toxic environment at work. They've been bullied. They've been harassed. They've simply had enough. Some have been made redundant. Some have retired. Some of them were just so stressed at the thought of working for somebody else that it made them sick, and therefore they lost their jobs. Some of them have had to take time off for childcare reasons and were then put on a disciplinary. I'll tell you a little bit about my journey with employment and all of that. And it was my almost perfect job. I was working for a big corporation with community work, and I absolutely loved it. But when it came to taking time off, you had to jump through hoops of fire. I was disciplined for using my phone in work's time, and I was actually sorting out childcare for my youngest. I was trying to liaise with my ex-husband to try and work out, is he able to pick him up from school? And without making that phone call, I then couldn't have worked that day, and I was disciplined for using my phone. There was another time when I was told that my job was at risk, and this was because I had taken special leave and I hadn't applied for it in advance. And the special leave that I needed was to go and see my mum in hospital who was dying. And I was told afterwards, after she died, that I could potentially lose my job because I hadn't applied for that time off in advance. And it just felt so unjust to me that I was having to do all of this, having to ask permission for time off for these really important things in life. I'm not going to get that time back. My mum was in hospital and she died. And what was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to say, I'm sorry, I can't come because I'm not allowed to take time off? I very soon left that job because I'd yet again asked for more time off at a specific time, and I was denied the time off. Well, I could take time off 2 weeks beforehand, but the event that I wanted to attend wasn't happening then. It was happening at the end of the month, and I just got to a point where it was just causing me so much stress. I needed to leave. So I tried to get an agency job to kind of help with working along with self-employment, and getting a part-time agency job to help pay the bills. And I found a cracking little job. It was 2 days a week, just 2 miles up the road from me. And I was told that my dinner break was at 11:30 in the morning. Well, I'm not hungry at 11:30 in the morning, certainly not for my dinner. I'd like to take my dinner break at 12:30 when I'm actually hungry, but not 11:30. And yet again, I was finding myself in this situation where I had everybody dictating to me what time I was doing things, even being told what time to eat. And after that was it. I was done. I was done with working for other people. Now, it's not easy being self-employed. You know, we don't have any sick pay. We don't have holiday pay. But what we do have is the flexibility. We have the flexibility to go on the school runs when we need to. We have the flexibility to take time off when the kids are sick. You have the flexibility to just go out for the afternoon with a friend for a coffee without somebody else telling you, no, you have to book time off, you have to fill in a form. So yeah, there's a lot of us are self-employed because we have to be. We just do not fit into what we consider the norm, the 9-to-5 norm. So I've always had chronic health challenges as well, maybe over the last I'd say over the last 20 years, but particularly so over the last 5 years. And I'm so grateful now that I can down tools if I'm having a fibro flare. I'm not having to ring up my employer to say I can't come in again. You know, when you're at the point in employment where you're being told if you take any more time off sick, you're going to lose your job. I don't have any of that now. Finances are difficult. They are unpredictable when you first start in business, but it's a different lifestyle. So taking all of that into account, do many of us actually have a choice when it comes to being self-employed, or are we forced into it? So all of that taken into account, yes, self-employment is hard work. And then also, when people have been forced into self-employment, whether it's through illness or childcare or just coming from a toxic environment that they just can't work in anymore, all of a sudden being put into the role of business owner, what tools do we have? What knowledge do we have? What skills do we have? We haven't all got the business skills to make it work in the first instance. So we are working longer hours. We are learning all of the things. We are wearing all of the business hats. And it's really, really hard work. You've got all of that headspace taken up now with marketing, selling, networking, all of the things involved in running your own business. You've got accounts to sort. You've got so many plates to spin and hats to wear. You may think going back into employment's actually a viable option, but I get the feeling that many of you will, once you've stepped out of employment and into self-employment, you're never going to go back. But how do we manage everything? How do we run a business then and run a home and keep our lifestyles going? How do we do all of those things while still maintaining our health and our sanity? It's really difficult. It's really difficult. I'm still learning, but I've come up with things that work for me. And it's just about finding what works for you. So while you're on this business journey, especially right at the beginning, it's figuring out what works for you, what works best in your situation, and tailoring whatever systems you use, whatever strategies you have, tailoring it to you, to your needs, to your lifestyle, and to what you want to get out of life. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Come and find me on socials. I've got a couple of free groups you can find on my profile that you are welcome to join. I'd love to hear more about what you'd like me to talk about on the podcast, and I would welcome your ideas for future episodes.